Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I literally just got home from Vegas. I guess not that literally. I've been home for like an hour, catching up, having some playtime with the kiddo before putting her to bed, and figured I'd show you some of the things I grabbed at the USN The Gathering. It was my first time going to that show. It was pretty exciting. I was pumped for it. I'd had a number of friends who have been to all the major knife shows, like Blade Show and all that, that said that USN was kind of their favorite. And that was a good sign, I thought, and I can see why. It was a really, really cool show. Really awesome vendors, like the people who attended and had tables were really high caliber. Some people I'd never heard of. It was cool to handle some new knives that I wasn't even aware of. A lot of really cool people in attendance. I had some friends there. I got to go with my good buddy Nick Rogers from Niche Designs, and play with some prototypes of his, which was fun. And yeah, we carpooled up and roomed together, and that was a good time. Spent a lot of time hanging out with Benny from Jack Wolf Knives, and his buddies Cole and Corey that were helping with his table, and the guys at Keenison, Brian, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to see so many people that most of whom I had only met virtually, and then to meet them in person, and to handle some sick knives. So I got two things at the show, unless you count a t-shirt, but I bought two knives. That's probably what you would like to see at the show, and so I figured I'd show them off real quick. We'll call this my quasi unboxing, and I'll do maybe some first impressions depending on time, but certainly some full reviews. And in the meantime, we'll show you what I got, and then I've got a couple things to unbox that'll be in separate videos, but that were waiting for me here at home. So the first thing I bought was the top thing on my list. I'm really, really glad that I was able to get one. There were only a few of them that were first come, first serve, and then the rest were lottos, and I wanted to buy first come, first serve things because I don't have the patience to sit there and wait and see whether I won a lotto. And so the first one was the Hawk Knives Deadlock Model C. Now, some of you may be familiar with this OTF. It's kind of a niche offering. Some of you may not be. Basically, I've been aware of Hawk Knives for a couple of years. Around the time that I started getting into like the social media side of the hobby, I remember watching a Blade HQ video of a shop tour with Grant and Gavin Hawk. They're a father and son team up in Idaho, and interesting folks because they're kind of cowboy, very Idaho, and they work, at least in that video that I saw, it seemed like kind of like a barn type of vibe, their shop, but they do like wizardry, really, really cool, inventive, incredible engineering stuff that I don't know, to me it seems like you wouldn't expect it maybe to come from them. And yeah, so they've done a number of things in terms of inventing locks and just doing really outside of the box new things on knives. And the Deadlock is their answer to the OTF. And I say answer because it solves some of the, I'll say, problems that are in the platform on almost all OTFs. And that's blade play and rattle and some things that I tend to complain about in just about all the OTFs I review. So I was really, really excited about this. It was not cheap, even getting it at table price, which is much better than paying secondary. I paid $1,000 for this at the table, which felt good compared to secondary prices, but man, it is not a cheap knife. So yeah, this basically is just a next level for me in terms of OTFs, and I've gone down the rabbit hole pretty deep on OTFs, and I've tried a lot of Microtechs. I actually have another Microtech here to unbox that I'm excited about. I'm not done with other OTFs, but this is ultimate for me. The first time I saw that this model was coming was just after Blade Show, or kind of at Blade Show. I saw Levon from Knife Nuts, got one of the prototypes, and I've been jealous ever since. And so yeah, this was literally the top of my list. The night before the show kicked off, I was already there in Vegas, and the night before at the Cove, they call it, there's like this kind of bar area up by the show. A lot of people hang out there the night before, and I was hanging out with Benny from Jack Wolf and Nick and a couple other guys, and behind Nick I spotted Gavin Hawk, and I was like, oh, no way, that's Gavin Hawk. And I was like, that's the knife that I want to get tomorrow. And they were like, you should talk to him. And I totally ran right over to him and just mentioned, dude, big fan kind of thing. Like, I had a fangirl moment. And I told him, I was like, you guys, I thought I saw on Instagram you're bringing some Model Cs or some first come, first serve. And he's like, yeah, totally. And then he had his personal Model C in his pocket, and he handed it to me to check out, and I hadn't handled one yet. And so right then and there, I fired it once, and I was like, I will be running to your table in the morning. So we got up early to be in line so that we weren't at the back, so that we could get in quickly, and luckily it worked out, and I got one. So appreciate it. And it was cool to get to talk to Gavin quite a bit at the show as well. I ended up, the shirt that I bought is a Hawk Knives shirt because I wanted a shirt to go with it because I'm a nerd like that. All right, so the other knife that I got, honestly equally exciting to me. This is one that I've wanted for quite a while, ever since they talked about that this would be a thing, or they unveiled this model, if you will. It is the Skiff Drifter. And Skiff makes a couple of knives, or has made a couple of knives, I should say. They've made the Culprit and the Accomplice, and now the Drifter. Those are the models I'm aware of. I guess there could be more beyond that I'm not aware of, but they had each of them at the show, and the Drifter was the one that I knew I wanted. And so as soon as I handed them the cash for the Deadlock, I ran right over to the Skiff table, and I basically got pick of the litter, and this was the exact one that I wanted. So the Drifter is a frame lock, as you can see, and they use 154 cm, and I talked to them about it. They do that in particular because of the finishing they can accomplish on it, and I mean, it is stunning. This one has mirrored flats and then hand-rubbed bevels, and all of the edges of the blade are mirror polished. And then you've got this really bright blue ano. This is the new kind of vapor honed finish, I think they call it. So it's a more vibrant poppy color on all of the titanium. And this is just exactly the other knife that I wanted to bring home. So the fact that I got the two knives that were exactly the top two that I wanted to get was perfect. And in the first 10 minutes of the show, I spent all the money that I brought to spend. And it was kind of nice in a way that I got the two and was done spending that quick, because then the whole rest of the show, it like alleviated some pressure in a way. There was no like, oh, but I've got this money burning a hole in my pocket, and what else should I get? I'm at a show, I feel like I should. Like, sometimes that happens. Here it was just like, I got exactly what I wanted the first 10 minutes of day one, and then it was coasting, and I could check out everything at every table at my leisure. It was a show that I was able to see everything, I think, in the first day, and have some good long conversations with makers and friends. And then on day two, it was like making the rounds again and having more conversations. But man, I am elated with both of these knives. They are just gorgeous and cool and fun. And it was fun too because both makers, like, I bought the Hawk in such a rush, but I had talked to Gavin the night before, and then again today, on day two of the show, I got to talk to him quite a bit when I went back to buy the shirt. And it's just awesome to get to talk to the maker behind it, right? And then at the Skiff table, both the father and son, another father-son team, they were both there, and the mom was there. She did like the books, and she's the one who helped do kind of my checkout process, and she was so sweet and kind, and they just seemed like such good people. I've heard good things always in the past, but it was great to, like, I've wanted to get a Drifter for a while, like I said, and I've been planning on trying to trade for one, or maybe just paying secondary, even though, again, this is another example of a knife that tends to go a little higher than table on secondary. But not only is it great to just pay table price in a situation like that, but to like hand cash to the guys who made it and talk to them about it and handle a bunch of their knives. And I mean, they had some crazy ones of these. There was one that was $2,000 table price that had a Damacor blade, which is Vanex at the core, and Damascus pivot collars and clip, and it was wild looking. This one was $900 table price, so quite a bit less than that, but it was really cool to get both of these pieces and talk to the makers. And throughout the show, I stopped back at their tables a couple of times, and it's like, now there's this bond. I have your knife, and it's been it's been kind of unreal that these two knives are both mine, because both are absolutely top tier caliber. Let me hold them both up so you can see both in the shot. But yeah, we've got the Skiff Drifter and the Hawk Deadlock Model C. It's kind of unreal that these are mine. I freaking love both of them. Yeah, so there will be full reviews ultimately, and I'll show some more details on them when that time comes. But goodness, they're sweet knives. So that's what I got. I'll kind of leave it at that. That was my show experience in a nutshell. It was a lot of fun. It was a super fun show to attend. I plan to go again. It was a lot of fun to have the Avant in my pocket and show it to so many people, and I gave some people some stickers, and it was a good time. It was particularly fun. I got to hand the Avant to like Enrique Pena and have him check it out and give me some thoughts, and I handed it to Richard Rogers and he checked it out. And watching other makers that I respect, there were more than that too. The guys at Keenis and Brian checked it out, and like to have like to see them react to something that I helped create. It was a special thing. Not to mention everybody who I showed it to, and seeing people react to it is so much fun that I just can't wait for it to come out, but or for production to get here, I should say, so that people can have them. Anyway, we're all in the wait together. Thanks, guys. It's been fun. USN is worth it. If you're somebody who's thinking about going next year, based on my experience this year, I can say you should probably go. It was a lot of fun. Now I'm going to end this one so I can unbox these other things. Thanks for checking it out, guys. See you later.